Welcome to Chris Johnson Live. I have the great pleasure today of having a McDonald's All American, a big time 5-star basketball player. His name is Peyton Watson. He's going to the University of California at Los Angeles, my alma mater. We are stoked to have him on the show. What's up, Peyton?
What's going on, Chris? Thanks for having me.
And of course, man, I appreciate you for taking the time out of your busy schedule, man. I know what it's like to be in high school around this time of the year, man. So I appreciate it. Something we like to do on the show, Peyton, is like we like to give our viewers and our listeners some insight into who the people that we're talking to are. So I'm gonna start from the beginning, my brother.
hmm
Talk about the city that you were born in, the state, and the neighborhood that you were raised in.
Yeah, I'm from Long Beach, California. Was born and raised in Long Beach, and I live in Bixby Knolls. That's the neighborhood I reside in.
Okay. And growing up in Long Beach, what sports did you play? Because I know you have a brother. You have any other siblings?
Yeah, I have a little brother. He's 16, and a little sister. She's 10.
Okay, she's 10. So what kind of sports did you guys, when you were actually a little bit younger, what kind of sports did you guys get into as youths?
I came up playing football and basketball. Those were two sports that I played a lot. I played wide receiver coming up, but once I hit about like I want to say 10 or 11, I was like, I'm built for basketball. So I'm going to try to focus on that, get as good as I can at that.
And so
I
that was
think I
that was
made
around
some
10 or
good.
11. Yeah. So did you grow? Did you have a growth spurt around that time that made you change up the game or to focus on hoop?
Nah, I just always had pretty like thin build. So I always thought I was going to be tall because my parents are tall. So I hadn't hit my growth spurt yet. I didn't hit that till I was 16 years old. So
Okay. Okay. Now, what AAU team did you play for growing up in Long Beach?
growing up, I played for a few different teams. The first team I played for was Tri City. That was my first basketball team. Johnny Juzang played for him. A whole bunch of good players from LA played for Tri City. A whole bunch of people you can name. I also played with Slam and Jam coming up. I played with Slam and Jam and ARC as well. And then to round out my middle school AAU, I played with the Frogs and I played with Inland Force out in the Inland Empire.
So you was going out to the IE and hooping with them cats out there, huh? Talk about
Yeah,
talk
we was
about
trying
just
to play the best player.
yeah, talk about that, man. I'm always fascinated about the IE. We talk about it a lot on this show because it's hoopers out there. People are thinking it's like cows and farms, but it's real ball players out there. Talk about the IE a little bit.
No, the IE got some really good players. When I played with Inland Force, Jalen Clark, who goes to UCLA, was actually on my team. So, or on the team above me. So I got to grow up watching him, and there's just a whole bunch of hoopers out there in the IE. So for me growing up, me and my parents, we always wanted to play against the best players, and at the time, that's where we thought it was. So we went out there and we joined them.
Yeah. No, that's great stuff, man. Let's see, Long Beach Poly when I was coming up, and I'm sure you know, is one of the most legendary schools, not just for basketball, but for all sports, track, football, hoop, everything. It's legendary. What made you decide to rock out with Long Beach Poly versus other schools?
Um, Well, coming into high school, there's obviously like choices you want to make and schools you want to go to. But as soon as I came and I shadowed at Poly and I visited the campus and saw what everything was about, did summer bridge, I fell in love with it. The tradition and how many good players and athletes, students, musicians, everything that's come out of Poly is very historic, and I wanted to be a part of that.
No, that's awesome. Shelton Diggs, your head coach, I know very well. His brother AJ, I know well as well. Talk about the effect that Shelton has had, some of the things he's taught you, and how you've some of the things he's contributed to help you improve as a young man and as a basketball player.
Oh yeah, Shell is my guy. I've been with him since I started high school. He's kind of took me under his wing, taught me a lot of things, and me and him are like this. I mean, that's my guy. I talk to him every day. Even when we weren't practicing throughout the pandemic, that was somebody I talked to daily. And yeah, I mean, he's just been huge as far as my high school career goes. He's built a toughness in me and a dog in me that I don't think a lot of other people have, and I can't wait to go out there and show everybody what we've been working on.
That's awesome, man. One of the first times, actually, the first time that I did see you play basketball was at the Real Run Winter Classic, where you were matched up against Josh Christopher, Long Beach Poly
Yeah.
versus Mayfair. Yeah, and that was my first time I laid eyes on you in person, bro. And so when I saw you out there, the thing that stood out for me, it was your willingness to guard Josh all the time. It's like you were seeking him out. You were face guarding sometimes. You'd be full court. You'd be down there just on him, but just playing hard. Talk about where you got that competitive spirit from, that drive, that want to take on the toughest challenge.
I mean, it's been like that for me since I was a young kid. I mean, my dad has always like instilled in us a belief and a mentality that every time you go out on the court, you want to play against the best player and you also want to be the best player on the floor. And I think that comes on both sides, whether that's offensive and defensive. So I could have had 30 that night, but if I was duck and smoke with Josh, I wouldn't have felt like myself, you know. So just being able to do everything and show my versatility out there that game meant a lot to me. We didn't come out with the win, but we went out there and we played our hearts out, and I think everybody saw that we left it out on the floor.
Yeah, you left it out on the floor, and I think you opened a lot of people's eyes, including Kevin Durant, who after the game had commented that you were the best player on the floor. Take that for what it is, my brother. Let's flip to COVID. So COVID hits, right? COVID hits, we get shut down. But getting shut down doesn't mean that Peyton Watson stops training and working out. Talk about what you did during COVID to keep your game tight.
We, since the start of the pandemic, have literally taken this as nothing but a blessing is in disguise. I took this as an opportunity to get stronger, both physically and mentally. I trained my mind a lot. It was really hard not playing, but I didn't let that stop me from getting to it and still working. And it's worked perfectly. I mean, I can see it's night and day the difference in my game, and I can't wait for everyone to see it.
I talked to Matt Barnes this morning about an event
Mm-hmm.
that he saw you play in. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he told me that it was a bunch of guys, Chet Holmgren, a bunch of high ranked players, but you were the best player out there. He described you as a new age wing that can do a little bit of everything, including post up. The thing I like most though is that he gets down on the defensive end. Talk about that tournament, that 3-on-3 tournament against and who you were playing against, the competition that was involved, man. Just set the stage for us because that was pretty big time from what I'm hearing. And I didn't get to see much of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was a great event that Legends and Scott hosted. I was glad to be a part of it, and it was at Snoop's compound. So yeah, I felt like I was with the home team there the entire time. Everyone made us feel welcomed, and it was a great environment to play in. There was a lot of great talent there, including Amari Bailey, who committed to UCLA and will be with us 2022, I believe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a whole bunch of the best players from California, but also they had brought guys from Atlanta who played on Quavo's team, and also Chet's team with Masterpiece kid Hersey Miller and his younger son Mercy Miller, and also Chet and some other good guys from out there. So I just knew coming in that there was going to be some good players. So I just came in and kind of even kill. Wasn't trying to do too much because it was a 3-on-3. But at the end of the day, my competitive side came out, and I think a lot of people saw that. And I just went out there and I played my game.
19 of the team's final 21 points. Is that correct?
You breaking out, Chris? I can't hear you.
Okay, how is it now? Real quick. Just real quick. You got me? Hold on, Peyton.
I'm kind of you coming back.
All right, let me turn off
You
some
coming back? Yeah, you
internet.
back, Chris?
All right. I said you had 19 out of the team's last 21.
Mm-hmm. I
Wow.
mean, yeah,
Okay.
like at that point, at that point in the night, I had already had that big dunk on Chet, and I was just kind of feeling myself a little bit. So I had to come out there and show that killers kill, no matter what the circumstance is. And they had a guy that was killing the whole time, so I took it as a personal. I took it personal, and I tried to shut his water off, and not only do that, but lead my team to the victory, and we ended up winning the whole thing. It was a great experience.
One more question about that, Peyton. Talk about just what it's like to win an event like that. First of all, representing the West Coast, how much that means to you, and then second of all, how much does it mean to you to have your brother Christian playing alongside with you? Did you turn up a little extra because little bro's in the building or what, man?
I mean, me and Chris always like bring the best out of each other, whether that's playing with or against each other. So when I go out, it's important to me for him to see me always at my best and always playing my best, trying my hardest, just so he can follow my lead and for him as well. So he was out there, he was killing as well, and he held his own against some of the best players in California. And that's why I think he should be regarded as one of the best players in California, too. But we all know that's in God's plan and that everything will come in due time. And we're just waiting for him to blow up, too.
If you could give me a scouting breakdown on young Christian Watson, break him down for me. Just let me know what his game's like. Give me the height, the weight, and who he plays like, the whole nine.
Yeah, so he's 6'4". He recently grew from last season. He was 6 feet to 6'4" now. He's picked up some weight too. I think he's like 165. Yeah, and he's super crafty, has super good feel from the game. He's always been super knowledgeable about the game, so he knows what he's doing. He's a floor general. He controls the tempo of the game, and he could get to the basket at will, and he finishes very craftily. So I just think he's a great all around player, and man, I just can't wait for y'all to see him in action.
Nice. Nah, he's gonna be fine. We're gonna be talking about him a lot in the years to come, just like we're talking about you. Talk about though your relationship with Paolo Banchero. I heard you guys were doing some working out together. Talk about Paolo, your relationship, and what kind of stuff you guys were doing as far as working out.
Oh yeah, so originally I had met Paolo at USA camp, and from the moment we kind of met, we kind of clicked, and that was my guy, and I just knew him for being super cool off the court.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
when this pandemic hit and everything was happening, once people could start back traveling and stuff, I told him he's got to come out to LA and work with me because I just always want to play against the best players, play with the best players. So he came out here and we played in some pro runs. And a funny story actually is that we went out. I don't know where we were at, but we played in these runs against Klay Thompson, and Klay Thompson airballed his first shot. And people, I was kind of looking around like, okay, and he didn't miss a shot the rest of the day. I swear to God, it was not hitting rim. I want to say me and Paolo fouled him on a few jumpers. They were still just going straight in. I was like, wow, this dude's different. It was like a robot. I'd never seen anything like it. And me and Paolo joke about that to this day. But yeah, that's my guy. And I recently went out there to Seattle to train up there with him. So we're always going at it. We're always talking. And I see a big future ahead for him.
When you talk about a guy like that has his type of size and skill set and explosiveness, how do you cap his upside? Like when you say how good this dude can be, how do you talk about it or how do you think about it in terms of how good he can be as far as his upside?
Well, I mean, not only me, but I think a lot of other people think he could be as good as he wants to be. I mean, he's got some stuff that you can't teach. He's got God-given ability that no one can really teach, and he's put the work into. You can tell with his footwork and his moves and his ability to move up and down the floor. So he's definitely worked on his game. Everyone can see that. And as far as high school, he's a dominant player. So I can't wait to see what he does at Duke, and hopefully I'll see him at the next level.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully we guys meet up in the tournament.
Yes, sir. God
That'd
willing.
be nice.
God willing. We're gonna get there.
Absolutely. Describe the type of work that you put in with Darren Collison, UCLA legend Darren Collison, and how it helped different parts of your game.
Yeah, when you're working with pros, especially like guards, their minds think completely different. So the biggest blessing about all this is just getting to hear his experiences and just certain things I haven't heard before and how to be a professional. Those are the biggest things I take away from what he says. It's not necessarily always the training. The training's amazing, and everyone can tell I've been getting better. But it's been a lot of it's been mental, and I've just taken mental notes of everything he's ever told me, and I'm becoming a better player.
No, that's very smart. Michael Jordan once said that basketball is 10% physical and 90% mental.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the same experience as a young man playing up in the men's gym with Magic Johnson and Shaq and all these kind of dudes.
Yeah,
You just you just learn so much on the basketball floor because them dudes are talking.
yeah,
That's the thing that people don't realize about pros, how much they can like cross you up while talking, jumper while talking. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Talk
It's crazy.
talk about that. Talk about that, Peyton.
Well, I mean, I've been so fortunate to play against and with so many good players. Especially this summer, we took it upon ourselves to really get the best work we could. So I got to play with some really great guys, including like I built a relationship with KD. So I got to go out there and play with him and Kyrie and some of the other Brooklyn Nets players out there, Karis LeVert.
Wow.
So some.
What's KD like? What's KD like, Peyton? I gotta ask about KD. What's it like playing against KD?
I mean, I tell everybody, like, I always thought he was nice on TV, and I was like, this dude is amazing, and this is my favorite player. But seeing him in person, he's honestly the best basketball player I've seen with my own two eyes. Like, it was crazy some of the stuff he was doing. We played best of five. We played three best of fives each game to 7 or 8, I want to say, and he had at least 6 or 7 every game, like literally, and he wasn't missing either. He's standing 7 feet tall, and there's some other good players in there guarding him, including myself, and he was just shooting like we weren't even there. So, I mean, that just goes to show you the level of work he's put in and how good he is. I mean, and Kyrie was on my team, and he was no joke either. I mean, when we were running the break, I'm trailing him. He ain't even looking back at me to pass it. He's going picking that up on the right side, on the left side. Yeah, so some of the stuff they were doing was unbelievable. I definitely took some stuff away from that.
And it does it give you confidence when you go back home to Long Beach and you playing with your guys and stuff? Do you feel a little bit sweeter, or you don't really trip on any of that? You kind of just you're Peyton Watson. You go do what you do anyway.
I mean, something I just took away from that day is that like everybody's out here working, and and a lot of people are blessed with talent. So just to be one of those guys, you gotta be special, and that's something that I tried to pride myself on. And when I came back to Long Beach and wherever I played after that, I was definitely super confident in my ability. Just holding my own with guys like that.
One more question on COVID, and then we'll cap it and we'll move on to the college recruiting process. If you could give me a silver lining, like one good thing out of this tragic COVID situation, the silver lining out of COVID, what would it be for you personally?
Just all the free time we've had and all the time we've had to work on bettering ourselves in honestly every aspect. I took this break we've had to focus on a lot of things that I normally wouldn't get to, like how important family time is, how important it is to be educated about stuff going on in the world, especially with everything you see going on still to this day. So to be an educated Black man in society today means everything, especially being a role model for younger people coming up. My dad always taught me that I was more than a basketball player, and my mom, and she was a teacher herself, so she's just taught me a lot of stuff about life that I'm going to carry with me, and hopefully I'm going to be able to inspire people coming up younger than me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's good that you take your role seriously at a young age, because there are young men and women that do look up to you, Peyton. Talking about your college recruiting, let's hear about who was involved. And ultimately, I want to know, why did you choose UCLA?
I mean, yeah, the recruiting process. I mean, for me, it was a crazy time. Like just especially for how my recruiting process went, just because I just got so nationally recruited so quick after I went to USC. It was just a whole bunch of, USA. It was just so much. It was just so much coming at me in such a short amount of time. It was almost kind of overwhelming, but I just took everything as a blessing. Every coach we talked to was super, super cool. There were a lot of schools involved in the mix, a lot of Pac-12 schools, Washington, Arizona, and then across the country where you go, Michigan, Kentucky, Georgetown, a whole bunch of schools, and a whole bunch of different staffs. So for me, it was just about feeling at home somewhere. And luckily, I got to go to 3 or 4 UCLA games. And every time I tell people I walk in the building, every time I walked in Poly, I felt something. And I felt like it was home. Even if you go back and watch that Arizona State game when Jaime hit the game winner, I was on top of my chair standing up cheering. I know that probably wasn't politically correct at the time. I wasn't committed nowhere, but that's just how I felt being there. And UCLA just felt like the place to be and the place for me and my family. So that's where we ended up deciding.
How much did because I'm just curious, because I know how it was with me when I attended UCLA. I had a dad that was a college All-American there, won the first Wooden Award, name was in the rafters, won a championship. So UCLA for me was like this special place that I wanted to be a part of because of my dad and because we had a legacy in our family. How is it for you looking at UCLA? Does the legacy of UCLA, the banners, does that stuff still resonate with you? As
Oh yeah, 100%. It's almost the same feeling I get with Poly. Everyone who's been there or even been a part of every run that Poly's had is super prideful about it. Even people who didn't go to Poly and they're from Long Beach, they wish they went to Poly. So tradition is so big for me because I just like carrying on the torch, and I feel like UCLA runs LA basketball ever since I was a kid. I feel like UCLA basketball is top tier in LA athletics in general. So to finally be like a part of the family and be embraced as one of those guys means a lot to me and my family.
uh, does the Jordan brand deal that UCLA just entered into, does it change how you feel about anything, or you would have been just as good if we were Under Armour?
I mean, we made the decision when they were still Under Armour, so we were UCLA 100%. But the Jordan brand thing is obviously big time as well. Like I said, I feel like UCLA is top tier, so I feel like they should be rocking the freshest stuff, the nicest kicks, all that. Because I believe that when you look good, you feel good, and you play good. So I think that it's a great start, especially on the recruiting side. To be everybody see UCLA rocking that Jordan, that's some sweet stuff.
Did the run through the tournament this past season, did that surprise you at all?
Nah, not actually. I think UCLA was a super battle tested squad all year. We've been in tough ones. We lost some tough ones, and we've been in situations where when you get in that tournament and it's time to be gritty and be a dog, we were ready to do that, and we squeezed every little bit of juice out of the tank we had, and we really just sold out. And thanks to our amazing coach Mick, everybody played to the best of their ability. Johnny had a great run. It was great seeing that and great seeing the things that that platform can do for him. So I was super happy for him and a lot of the other guys as well.
Yeah, and a lot of credit to Coach Mick Cronin this season for getting the guys to buy in. It's difficult to get a team like that to buy in from start to finish, especially with the COVID year. So we got to give Coach Mick Cronin a shout out. I think you're going to enjoy playing for him. He gets the most out of his players, as you
Yeah.
can see, and so that part of it is going to be fun. But just comment a little bit about what you're looking forward to playing for Coach Mick Cronin.
As you said, I mean, he gets the best out of everyone. Coming in, a lot of people didn't even think our team would get past the first round of the tournament. But I was confident that with our coaching and the type of players we have and the character they have, that we could make a really, really great run. And that's what we ended up doing. And it's a huge shout out to Mick. You could tell he learned throughout the season. And even in that game that we ended up winning against Alabama, we had that thriller because they hit that shot to take it to OT. Like, you heard him in the press conference. He was like, "Yeah, I trust my guys to make the right foul, and we should have fouled them so they could only shoot 2 free throws instead of getting the 3." But you can tell, like, he's learned from that. And throughout the tournament, we just got better and better with our execution, and that just goes off to him and the staff. My guy Rod Palmer, Coach Savino. Those are great guys, and I'm blessed to be a part of it.
Absolutely. Talk about, so you're a McDonald's All-American. You got named to the Nike Hoop Summit team, USA Basketball. You're in the system, Peyton. Mike Schmitz from Draft Express listed you as potential top 5 pick of the 2022 draft. When you achieve all these things, these accolades, and you hear people talking about your name, top 5 this, top 5 that, how do you stay grounded? How do you stay focused on your goals rather than worried about what other people are thinking about you?
I mean, more than anything, it just comes from the type of family I have. The biggest thing I focus on is how I got here, and how I got here was being humble, having humility, working my hardest, no matter what the press clippings say. I'm not into reading my own press clippings. I just go out there and I work my hardest, and that's how I got here, and that's what I'm going to continue to do in order to elevate my game even more. I take pride in being a tremendous person as well. My parents have always raised me that if you show love, you receive love, and everybody I talk to, I'm always super friendly, super cordial. Anybody can approach me, and I'm super cool to talk to, and those are just the things that are keeping me grounded.
I had a question about your parents. So when I was younger, my mom, she used to tell me, because I used to complain about sweeping, sweeping in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So I used to complain. I used to tell her, I'm not going to be no sweeper when I grow up. And so her whole thing was, boy, you better learn how to sweep. You don't know when you're going to need a job, and you can make some money learning how to sweep. And that's always rang in my head. I actually, at one point in my adult life, I had to do, clean up and do stuff to make a living. Trust me, it goes up and down, bro.
Yeah.
But but my question to you is something that your mother told you when you were younger that it kind of rings in your head the rest of your life. Like, you always hear that voice of mom saying something, a saying, a phrase. I don't know. What would it be for you?
I mean, just like I said, my mom always tells me that how you do anything is how you do everything. So whether that's in the classroom, being a good person, she just wants me to be the best I can and be a well-rounded human being, not just a basketball player. And that's just something that's always stuck with me. My mom pushes me to be the best in everything I do, whether that's painting a picture, drawing a picture, doing a coloring book. She wants me to do that the best I can. And that's the standard they hold me to, and that's the standard I hold myself to now. And I take responsibility for all that.
Absolutely. That's a very smart play. Always listen to mom and dad. They know what time it is and what's best for us, even though if we think they don't at the time. So it sounds like you're locked in. I like to hear that part. A couple more questions, Peyton, then we'll move on to the second part of the interview. When you're just kind of how you're approaching this season, this is your senior year, correct?
Yes, sir.
And it's been, real weird. Talk about when you guys are back playing again, what your schedule's looking like. Just update me on Long Beach Poly basketball and what Peyton Watson's season is going to look like this year.
So we're actually supposed to be having our first game this week. On Wednesday, we play Compton, or we're supposed to. Hopefully, everything is good with all the COVID testing and everything, so we could get season cracking and started. But for me, this is just, I look at it as my last lap in Long Beach. It's been a crazy 4 years, honestly. Really historic 4 years, and I couldn't think of any way to cap off my high school career than by wearing the green and gold. I take tremendous pride in that, and I don't do it to go out and prove I'm number one in the country or go out to score 50 every game. I do it because I genuinely love the school. I love the support from the city, and I want everybody to be able to see who people are regarding as the best player ever to play at Poly. And that means something to me. I take pride in that. So just for people to be able to see me while I'm still here, that means a lot.
Fantastic. One more question for you. If you could offer some words of advice to young men and women, young little girls and boys that are watching you, consider you a role model. If you can give them some advice on how to achieve their goals and dreams, what would it be?
Um, some advice I give to everybody is everything you do in your life, regardless of whatever you do, whatever your profession is, just want to be the best at it and always take a positive outlook from it. That's something I did throughout my high school career, is just always looking at things glass half full. And that's just propelled me to be great in all areas. Even when I'm working, I'm thinking this is going to pay off one day, even though the results might not show right away. I always have a positive outlook towards whatever I do. And in turn, the universe sends positive energy my way. And luckily, I've been so blessed to be in this position that I'm in. So I take all these things seriously, the platform I have. I appreciate you asking me what advice I have for other people, because a lot of times growing up, I didn't have that advice from people. I didn't really have anyone giving me that advice aside from my parents. So I'm glad I could be a voice for people. And one thing I'll say is just always work hard and take things as positively as you can.
Absolutely. There's so much to be said for positivity, positive energy, and staying plugged in,
Mm-hmm.
as I call it, Peyton, staying plugged into that wavelength up in here. Up here, everybody else is kind of moving down here.
Yeah, you in that
Stay
zone.
plugged in, dog.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So, Peyton, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you for joining, and best of luck this season. And go Bruins.
No doubt. Appreciate you having me, KJ.
No doubt. All right. So, Peyton, now we go. I can end this part of the interview.